Guess who's back again. I'm back. Hey guys, I have another update that is too big to fit into Hammer's headlines. There are so many stories happening at the moment, we can't fit them all into one video anymore. So I'm here to give you an update about one of our players. It's being reported that Guilherme could be sold to raise funds this month. So Gary Jacob from The Times has reported that we would be willing to sell the £25 million player and that a deal with the Saudi League could be on the cards for him. We know that in order to invest, we need to make some money as a club. And we know that we've got positions now, including striker, that have never been more urgent. We really, really need these inbound players. But for us to get somebody in, we need somebody to go for a decent sum of money. And if we can recoup the money that we spent on him, Guilherme would make sense in that way because he is one of our most expensive assets that we'd probably allow to go and that we're not really getting the most out of at this current point in time. But even saying that Guilherme is potentially up for sale sends a huge statement to Tim Steidten. And this is what we're going to be talking about here because Tim brought Guilherme in as a project for the future. We've seen glimpses of what the 18-year-old can do, and he's looked pretty decent when he's been given a bit of game time. Nothing groundbreaking, but again, decent squad player, decent prospect for the future, which is what we purchased him for. But news of a potential sale just 7 months later than we signed him shows that the board has got zero faith in Tim and his long-term position and long-term vision of what he's trying to achieve with the club. So on top of this, it's being reported that Tim is also going to have a reduced amount of input when it comes to signing, and it's almost going to become more of an advisory role as opposed to overseeing the whole club strategy, which was, I'm sure, what Tim was told when he came in. The whole point of having a technical director, aka bringing Tim to the club, is that we would have someone in charge of the direction that we're heading. They bring in players, they bring in head coaches as they're needed, but they plan that long-term vision and they make sure you're following a path. So it's more overseeing a whole range of things and obviously working with the head coach, working with the board to understand what budget's available, what the head coach thinks they need, but ultimately working as a team, but being an integral part of that planning, that strategy, that vision. But while he was brought in with that promise, it appears that his role really is diminishing daily because it's only a matter of time now before he gets frustrated. We've had so many stories come out which have essentially said that what Tim wants is getting ignored, or Tim had a certain idea and then someone else wanted something different. And I think the problem with this is we have brought different people in under different assumptions of how much power they're going to have. We've obviously just brought Potter in, who has his own ideas, his own team, his own thoughts, players like Evan Ferguson that he's worked with before. He knows what he brings. He knows if he'll work well with him. Perhaps Tim Steidten isn't a massive fan of him. Situations like that are ones that have to be resolved through teamwork with a head coach and a technical director, because ultimately you've got to be on the same page. Otherwise, everything falls apart. And I was hoping that with Potter coming in, we would be in a position where people could start working a little bit better together. But obviously stories like this coming out make you think, is there any support from the very top for Tim? Because if you're coming in and you're being told that you're in charge of strategy and where the club is heading, but half of the decisions that you try and make or you suggest are made are completely ignored, I'm not sure how much you can actually do in terms of turning a club around. And I'm sure that comes with a lot of frustration. But back to Guilherme anyway. In 5 games, he has played 43 minutes this season. So that's an average of 8.6 minutes per game. So it's hard to say that he's a player that we're actually using at the moment. But this was one that Tim believed was worth investing in and that could have a really big future ahead of him if we put time and effort into helping his career develop. For anyone that hasn't watched, we spoke with Tim Vickery, who knows everything about that whole area of the world and all the footballers from within it. And he said that Guilherme was a great prospect, but is one for the future. He's got great attributes. He's got a great work ethic. And if you can bring the best out of him, you're going to have a player on your hands that is definitely a starting player in your starting 11, or that you could sell for a big profit. Selling him 7 months later, you obviously don't have that profit because you haven't even given him a chance to progress in that time. So it's kind of deciding that short-term gain is better than long-term plans, obviously stepping on Tim's toes in the process. So is it a shame to let Guilherme go so soon? That's what I want you to answer for me. Or do you think that the immediate funds are more important than taking a risk right now on him for the future? So let us know your thoughts, as well as what you think and what you make of Tim Steidten's power being put further under pressure. It's definitely an interesting time because I think technical directors are incredible when they have the whole support system in place correctly, where they come up with what they want to achieve with the manager and they understand the budget from the board, and then they say players and they make sure that they work with the head coach and that it all can fall into place. But I think equally, if you stop looking at what they're trying to do and you start randomly going, I'll just have this player, I'll just chuck that player in. This is what Graham Potter's challenge was at Chelsea, was that he had random players thrown at him that didn't make sense for what he needed. So I really hope that we're at least listening to Potter and what he needs in terms of, oh, we need this January, which priority number one, striker. We can't say it any more times. We've said it many times over the years, but this time we mean it. Things are very serious. We have Danny Ings, who did some great pressing last game, but we need reinforcements, we need strikers, and we need to be able to reinvest. And to do that, unfortunately, it does mean we need to find funds from somewhere. And ignoring who it is or what it means for Tim, selling somebody worth at least 25 million, hopefully we can get the same amount back at least for him. If we make a loss, that's really bad business. If we can get that for somebody that we're basically not using, and we don't seem to have any massive long-term plans for him, I guess that makes sense if we can bring somebody in for that that's going to be more beneficial to us short-term, aka a striker. So there you have it. Just thought I'd jump on with this little update. Like I said, let us know your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the West Ham Network if you're new around here, because we'd hate to lose you. And that's all from me for now, and my toggles. So tune in at 5 p.m. for your Hammers headlines. I'll chat to you then. Come on, you Irons. Irons. Irons.